Yeah, sounds pretty good. All right. Let's do it. Thank you so much. So I just put out a little EP called Feed the Flame. First track off my EP. It's called Through the Night and Back Again.
Mornings like this I feel like leaving, though I'd have to hollow out my heart, like scraping out the insides of a pumpkin. Paint a twisted face and carve it out. Paint a twisted face and carve it out.
Here we are, Thanksgiving weekend in Yellow Springs, Ohio. This is where I grew up, and I spent my youth lurking on these streets.
People liken it to Austin in Texas, where it's a hippie town.
There's a real sense of community, I feel like, you know, with all art endeavors, whatever it be. So, I mean, when we first started playing shows or painting and things like that, I remember there always being turnouts of pretty much the community, you know.
It seems like in a lot of communities, the influence from the older members will be towards not the creative life because it's not the most logical life. It's not going to be necessarily the most lucrative, or and then it's almost the opposite in this town. It's like people push you to be creative and to experiment with things.
We actually used to jump from roof to roof through town and hang out on these roofs.
I was always the one that was stuck on the roof after. Like I could get up just fine, but then everyone's down, and I'm trying to figure out how everyone got down.
Up here we have Haha's Pizza. My friend Travis designed the mural on the back wall of it, which is an amazing little mural.
This is the place where we used to do theater, actually, growing up in Yellow Springs Kids Playhouse. And we were all in the play together, actually. Michael was the director, and I was the writer. It's called Bonanza Valley.
I was a door. I remember Dad bought an idiot's guide to playing the guitar. And I don't know how much that influenced guitar skills at all, but that was, I don't remember when it was, but that was the moment that kind of started picking it up. Whatever broken version of GarageBand was newly put on there, sit in front of the guitar and do it, tap on the desk as drums and kind of loop it all together. And, you know, I thought it was the best thing I've ever heard.
I would get off work and Michael would be going to work. So I had really nothing to do. I was 20 and I'm just rolling up to Yellow Springs to play music in this music store.
This place used to be Dingleberry's record store, which I worked at for, about 5 years. And it was a very classic, independent, high-fidelity style record shop.
We would tape record this guitar line, and then we would sing to it over and over again.
Wasn't a bottle of Jack Daniels involved?
There was definitely a bottle of Jack Daniels involved.
It was like you guys were hiding. You guys were hiding in between the CD shelves, like back there on the floor, like sitting on the floor so no one could see you.
Yeah.
And drinking and writing.
We were drinking, and this is after hours. So after the store closed, we'd actually shut the doors.
Just so no one could see you in there.
Yeah, we would get wasted, and we would sit, cross-legged on the floor, and I would play guitar, and he and I would sing together.
In lieu of a paycheck, sometimes he would just take CDs from the store, and that's how he collected that amazing collection of albums on there.
And my friends would come down, we'd hang out, drink coffee, smoke cigarettes, and just listen to music.
But Michael did it himself. I mean, no one told Michael, oh, you should do music, or he just started teaching himself. And I think it took some time, but you'd practice the chords.
Yeah, I don't think you ever really did anything that anyone told you to do. In fact, someone told you to do something, you'd probably run in the other direction.
I mean, the fact that I'm blessed with an opportunity to be able to do this stuff for a living, acting and making music is truly amazing. You know, I would definitely not be a very happy person if I wasn't able to do this kind of stuff, because it really just makes me feel in tune with the world.
Oh darling, to keep the balance true, but it's not me, it's you, just kicking us back and forth like this, tripping us back and forth like this, slipping us back. Burn, diesel crushed up, kinda callow. Shoot the shit of bugs in Times Square. Peanut brittle, Candyland. Archetypal brunette without sides. A lion's mane and pale horse hide. Bitten mouth and ring a nose. Laid buried, mistrusted instead. Laid buried, mistrusted instead. Burn, crumpled and burn. When the rain rushes like a wildebeest turd, we follow with the whisk through the rats and hogs. We span the velocity and bald eagle's wings. Colorblind schemes, motifs and themes. Faints in a plastic, cracked alabaster. Colorblind schemes, motifs and themes. Faints in a plastic, cracked alabaster. Turn your back on the stigmas. Let them walk their own stills. Knock 'em out from under the wall.
Senior year in high school, they all did senior projects, and Michael's project was actually in this space right here, and he got, I don't know, 20 local bands together to perform, and tons of people came out. Big mosh pit right here. Yeah, he sang an Operation Ivy song there, and it was just, he just always loved music. That was always his kind of passion, even before he started getting into seriously acting after high school.
I did not know what the hell I wanted to do when I left high school, so I just started playing music and started a band with my friend Jesse and Aaron, and we just kind of made it up as we went along.
At that particular moment, not only did neither of us have any musical equipment or gear, but neither of us played any instrument or had ever played any instrument.
Jesse didn't know how to play the drums. He basically was just like, I want to play drums, so he bought himself a kit.
I tricked my brother, who was in a band, into letting his band play in our basement in my room. And this, what he didn't know was that this led to the fact that we were going to use all of their equipment when they weren't there and start our own band off their equipment.
I said I wanted to sing, so I bought a microphone, which I couldn't really do anything with until I, could get a PA to plug it into, but I definitely practiced with that microphone in the privacy of my own quarters.
So I think our very first band practice ever, we wrote our very first song, and that was the first time that I had ever played drums and that Mike had ever sung, as far as I know.
It was called Panomia, and to this day, I still don't really know what that means. I liked the idea of a pawn, a chess piece, and there was this chick I knew named Amia, and Panomia just seemed to kind of roll off the tongue. There was not much other thought that went into that.
Our first show ever, we were all underage, and which meant that all of our friends were underage, so none of our friends could actually attend the show. And so our first live show was performed strictly to our parents, who had to come with us to get us into the club, the bar. And so that was a pretty great experience, especially considering the type of music that we were trying to play at the time, which was like sort of a punkish hardcore music that we were, spewing at our folks at the time.
Probably best they couldn't understand the lyrics, maybe.
Probably, yeah. We had a bass player named Skippy. He kept getting us these rather punk rock shows that were always in basements or basements of basements.
But we'd go to this place called the Webb Coffee House, which ceiling was about 6.5 feet high. So, like right here.
Definitely ended up at some of those shows. I remember there was one where like the bathroom was there. Literally, it was just like a hole in a cement floor. Was the bathroom, and
I remember seeing Panomia at Jags. Michael lit it up. He was this completely wild man on stage, like crazy front man. I remember thinking like, this fucking guy's got it. I need to do something with him, or I need to like get somebody that can do that in our band.
At our first show, it became very obvious that Michael was very enthusiastic and very much a front man. Just as much of a singer and interested in the musical aspects, he's very interested in the idea of performance and putting on a good show. And that first show was very evident to that.
It was obviously evidently clear after him agreeing to have him as a singer and him being in the shady side very short amount of time that it was like that was it. That
we were
was
ripping
like
shit up.
he had a front man who could just go full force into it and just go ballistic and you know, draw the crowd in and fucking connect with people.
Well, yeah, he was an actor then, but it was normal. It was a natural thing for him to put himself out there and
natural performer.
Just be in the moment.
He did this weird twerky dance thing where he was just like contorting his body all in different ways.
Yeah.
Flying around the stage, jumping in the air, and I remember I think he got a bass guitar into his face.
And while we were all cool with just spreading out and standing like tough dudes that didn't crack a smile, Michael would perch upon things or open his mouth like a dinosaur.
Oh. Yeah.
So we just kept him in the middle so people would look at him. It was like a prism, but he was like the focal point that just busted out to everybody. The rainbow spread from Michael's loins, where we were just the backup light. And he just spread the rainbow over everyone.
We were his...
And that's not a sexual thing. That is a happy, passionate, force of God kind of thing.
Turn your back on the stigmas. Let them walk their own stilts. Knock them out from under the walkers. But don't spoil the family circus fun. There is a safety net. Will fall fun. There is a safety net. Will fall fun.
Dayton, Ohio. So after I moved out of Yellow Springs, I moved out here to Dayton for a few years before going to London. Living in Dayton was actually a really good transition to London because having grown up in Yellow Springs, it's a very, very small town of 3,000 people. And going from Yellow Springs to London, I probably would have imploded. So Dayton was a good transition city. The Oregon District is where we played a lot of our shows. There was this place there called the Night Owl, which I think now is called Blind Bob's. We also used to play in this place called 1470s, which I think is now a gay nightclub called Mask. There was this other place, Jags, which I think closed down as well. And everything's just shifting and changing. Canal Street is actually where I played my second show ever in the first band I was in, called Panamia. My music back then was a lot angstier, and I suppose now my approach is more like telling a story as opposed to just painting a picture. And I suppose my music nowadays has more of that sense to it. Took a few classes at Sinclair Community College to kind of get involved in the theater program there. And I ended up doing my first plays as an adult, which kind of, got me the bug. And then I kind of investigated going to London and ended up doing that. But yeah, it kind of all started around these parts.
I really like to think that we were friends before we were a band. So I think Michael realized that he wanted to do what he wanted to do that would free himself and make him feel complete. And I think as a friend, you really can't be selfish no matter what position you're in. No matter, even if you're recording in Nashville and thinking, yes, we're about to get there. But here's the thing, I went for a walk with Michael down 17th Street in Nashville, Music Row, and we had a good talk about him wanting to move to London and become an actor. And I remember being very, very cool with it because I know that he's talented. And I also I proposed that, we let us see you do something.
I was so let down, and I was kind of pissed at him in a way, but then it was like, as soon as I saw him perform in the play, The King's Stag, I was like, holy shit, dude. All right, well, yeah, that's it.
It was really good.
That is it. I was like, you are supposed to be doing that.
I feel like I've changed a lot since I've left I've been gone from this place for nearly a decade now. And it's always weird coming back to where you grew up when you've been away for a long time, because it really makes you kind of reflect on, you know, who you've come to be, why you are who you are.
The relationships you have, not just with your people, but your, you know, what you're doing with your life kind of comes through in the music. And it definitely has with Michael. I think that you can see that he's grown a lot as a person. It's coming out in his music, and the fact that he has this wonderful woman and now a baby in his life. I think you can kind of hear it in this latest album that you know, there's a contentedness, but he's still pushing the boundaries of art making and making it dynamic, but that, you know, he's found a place in his life where he feels really comfortable.
Whenever I'm around these dudes to this day, I feel more complete and more myself, and that's a confidence factor, I think, from getting Michael in the band, because he just was so naturally comfortable being himself, and that was really, really something that you can pass on to people.
And what's been really cool is Michael always sends us his demos or his new songs, and it's funny because I hear it, and you know, I'm his biggest fan, so I'm like, oh, it's great. He's like, well, okay, well, what did you like it? I'm like, yeah, you should, any advice or what do you think? No, it's perfect.
Trouble comes and trouble goes, but love is like the open road. Roll down a window, breathe the air in. And when the darkness starts to choke, love's the light inside your throat, to heal the hurt, to keep the warmth in. Growing up and growing old, watch our stories unfold like an atlas to places unknown. Well, and the point of it all is that we can't be scared to fall, or to fly, or sink, or swim. And the breeze in the trees seems to whisper your name. You make me feel like a kid, you make me feel like a man. You're my everything. And the bells still ring. Just remember that we love in many different ways, but I will fight for this. I am here to stay. You're my everything. And the bell